This unfortunate child was born with a deformity, so his parents decided to teach him at home. But that can't go forever. One day, the little boy has to face the world alone. And it will not be easy at all. Isabel and Nate were really excited to have their second child, but their little boy is going to have a hard life. Auggie was born with a disease called mandibulofacial dysostosis, which caused him to have a deformed face. Since his birth, 27 surgeries have been performed on him. After going through the long, painful process, Auggie is finally able to properly breathe, hear, and look a little better. But he still doesn't look like an ordinary child, though from inside, he is still an ordinary child who loves ice cream, plays Xbox with his father, and likes watching Star Wars movies. He always dreams of space travel and walks around with an astronaut helmet, which also helps him avoid people's stares. Despite this, Auggie understands that he can never be a normal kid who doesn't make other kids run away and they don't get started wherever they go. He is already 10 years old but hasn't gone to a real school. His mother, Nate, wants Auggie to live a normal life, and for that he must start learning to survive in this world. She wants to admit him to school, but her husband Nate is still worried of Auggie facing judgment. They let Auggie make this decision by himself. They take him to the school where he meets the friendly and kind principal, Mr. Tushman. He briefs about the school activities that will be held throughout the year. He also calls former students so they can give Auggie a tour around the school. Auggie immediately looks down at their shoes, as that's how he judges others' personality. One of them is a talkative girl named Charlotte, who tells Auggie about his classroom and homeroom teacher, Mr. Brown. The other kid named Julian takes him to the science lab but says that Auggie is going to find science really difficult because he has never been to school. Julian starts getting more rude and asks Auggie if he got into a car crash or a fire that made his face like that. The other kid named Jack gets angry with Julian and tells him to stop asking weird questions. Auggie finally speaks up for himself and points out a grammar mistake in what Julian said and advises him to try homeschooling to have better grammar. After this incident, Julian starts to hate Auggie and gets determined to tease him whenever he gets a chance. After returning home, Auggie tells his parents that he is ready to attend school. They get really excited to hear that and start preparing for Auggie's first day at school. After a few days, Auggie's family drops him at the school gate and gives him a lot of best wishes. As soon as Auggie enters the school ground, all the students start staring at him and they move away. His mom always told him that if you don't like where you are, just picture where you want to be. So Auggie starts to imagine that he entered the school after completing his space mission, and all the students are welcoming him with love. Auggie gets inside his classroom, but the students don't even let him sit near them. Their teacher, Mr. Brown, enters the classroom and introduces himself. He starts the lesson by asking each student to tell something about them. Firstly, it's Julian's turn, and he brags about the new video games he bought. Next is Auggie, and he mentions about his dog and says that he loves Star Wars. Julian asks about the braid Auggie has. Auggie says it is inspired by a character from Star Wars. But Julian says that Auggie's favorite character should be Darth Sidious, as he also has a scary face. The teacher tries to change the topic, but Julian has found a way to bully Auggie. Later that day, he calls Auggie as Darth Sidious and tells him that his braid is lame. Auggie also gets bullied during the sports class, and no one accompanies him in the recess. As soon as Auggie reaches home, he grabs the scissors and cuts off his braid. Then he stays quiet all day. His parents keep waiting for his feedback about the school, but Auggie doesn't say much and leaves the dinner table all of a sudden. Later that night, Auggie asks his mom why he is so ugly. Isabel tells him that the person who can actually see will never bother about the face and focus on what is in Augie's heart, and his heart is really beautiful. Moreover, everyone has to face problems in life no matter how they look. Auggie's sister Via is really beautiful but still isn't happy. She believes that her parents are planets revolving around the sun, and Auggie is the sun. Via loves her brother a lot but also wants her parents to give some attention to her as well. Till her grandma was alive, Via never felt alone, but now the only person who listens to her is her best friend Miranda. After the summer break, Via joins back school and rushes to Miranda. She asks her why she wasn't answering the phone, but Miranda doesn't give a satisfying explanation. Then she goes to sit with her new friends. Via has realized that she is alone again. She was standing near the notice board when a friendly guy named Justin reached there to sign up for the drama club. Justin mentions about his parents being overprotective of him because he is the only child. This makes Via wonder what it would be like if Auggie hadn't been born. After Justin leaves, Via also signs up for the drama club so she can make new friends. After returning home, she gets busy with herself as her parents never have time for her. Isabel wanted to be a children's book illustrator, but she gave up on her dream to focus on Auggie. She still draws, but all of her drawings have Auggie as the centerpiece. This reminds Via that Miranda used to jokingly say, "Via's house is like the earth which revolves around the sun," not the daughter. Meanwhile, Auggie has started to get used to his school life except for dodgeball. He is not bullied anymore but feels awkward when other kids stare at him. One day during a science test, Auggie notices that Jack is having difficulty. As Auggie is really bright in science, he asks Jack to copy his answers. Later that day, Jack accompanies during lunch break and thanks him for the help. Jack also has some insecurities and doesn't like eating in front of others, but Auggie is willing to join him in eating in a fun way. Jack feels really comfortable with Auggie and they become good friends. He even agrees to visit Auggie's house. Isabel can't hold back her tears while seeing her little son finally learning to get along with others. On the other hand, Via has joined theater, but being an introvert, she hasn't made any friends. Justin approaches her as he thinks that she is also an only child like him. Via doesn't reveal the truth as she also likes Justin's company. Later that day, she visits the beach where she used to go with her grandma. She understood that Vasir is getting ignored because of Auggie, and she made sure to give her all the love. But unfortunately, she died really soon. After returning home, Via mentions visiting the beach and Isabel realizes that she is missing her grandma. So she asks Via to stay home during the weekend so they can spend more time together. The next day is Halloween, Auggie's favorite holiday. It's the only day he can walk with his head high up. On Halloween, it's cool to look weird or scary. Auggie happily goes to school wearing his ghost costume and gets inside his classroom. Julian and his friends don't recognize Auggie and keep talking about him and comparing him to ugly monsters. Jack is there too, and he says that he's being nice to Auggie because the principal told him. If he were like Auggie, he would kill himself. Isabel was spending time with Via when she got a call from school. She rushes to pick up Auggie and Via is left alone again. She still acts like a good sister and tries talking to Auggie. He tells her what Jack did, and now no one dares to touch Auggie as they think his face is a plague. Via advises him to accept that the world is cruel and people change. She doesn't have a disease, but Miranda still avoids her. In the end, you only have your family. Saying this, Via takes Auggie for a trick or treat. The next day, Auggie stops talking to Jack and avoids him. Jack recalls the moment when his mother advised him to be kind to Auggie, as he will have a hard time at school. But after becoming friends, Jack realized that Auggie is a great guy, and if Jack gets a chance to pick any kid as his friend, he will still choose Auggie. Little does he know, Auggie heard what he said to Julian. Another student named Summer notices Auggie sitting alone and joins him. She explains that the principal didn't advise her to do that. She just wants to have a good friend. Auggie gets satisfied with the explanation and accepts to be her friend. Meanwhile, Via auditions for the school play, but Miranda gets the main role. Justin still wants Via to remember the main lines so he can practice with her. He also confesses his love for Via, but before accepting his proposal, Via wants to tell him about her brother, so she takes him home. Justin is really understanding and always stays beside Via. Miranda starts missing her friend and decides to call Auggie to ask about Via. After hanging up, Miranda recalls the sweet moments she spent with Via and her family. They have been best friends since kindergarten. Miranda's family was great too, but then her father married his boss and stopped coming home, and her mother couldn't get over her divorce. To avoid this situation, Miranda went to the summer camp, and one day during a game, she imagined herself as Via. This made her realize how perfect Via's family is. She got a little jealous and started avoiding Via. Now she regrets separating from her. Via's family was like her second family. Miranda is determined to fix this mistake and looks forward to a chance. Winter break arrives and Auggie visits the snow hills but avoids Jack there as well. After school opened, Jack told Julian about the place he visited, but Julian made fun of him and also spoke ill of other kids. Jack finally realizes that he lost Auggie just to be friends with people like Julian. Jack asks Summer for help and she tells him about the last Halloween day. Jack recalls everything and feels ashamed of himself. Julian asks him to be his partner in the science project, but Jack chooses Auggie. Hearing this, Julian makes fun of Auggie and Jack hits him to defend his friend. The principal suspends him for just 2 days because he knows that good friends are worth defending. After a few days, Jack sends a message to Auggie and apologizes for what he said. And that's how they become friends again. Later that night, Isabel gets angry at Via for not inviting them to watch her play. Though they are busy with Auggie, that doesn't mean they don't have time for their daughter. Auggie assumes that they are fighting because of him, and he gets angry too. Suddenly, their dog falls sick, so Isabel immediately takes her to the hospital. In the meantime, Via tells Auggie that she is not mother of him and wants him to watch her play. The next day, Auggie and his parents go to watch the play. Miranda notices them and decides to let Via live the moment she can't. She excuses herself from performing and tells Via to take her place. The play is about being grateful for little things in life, and Via says all the lines with so much emotion because she also forgot to be grateful for the blessings she has. After the performance, she hugs her mother tightly as an apology for misunderstanding her. To celebrate her achievement, Isabel makes a delicious dinner and also invites Justin and Miranda. The next day is a science exhibition at Auggie's school. He has made a really cool project and wins the first prize. Julian keeps looking at him and doesn't like Auggie being accepted. He keeps bullying the poor boy by passing abusive notes. The principal calls his parents and shows them the class photo from which Auggie is removed by Photoshop. Julian also wrote multiple notes telling Auggie to kill himself as a favor to the world. Instead of scolding Julian, his parents start supporting him and say that Auggie gives nightmares to kids. In response, Mr. Tushman only says that Auggie can't change the way he looks, but others can change the way they see. Julian's parents drop him out of the school, but Julian apologizes to the principal before leaving. After a few days, the school goes on the annual trip. Auggie enjoys a great time as he has made a lot of friends. During the trip, some boys try to bully him, but all of Auggie's friends gather to protect him. Auggie starts crying after knowing that he is not alone anymore. His parents also continue to pursue their dreams and give time to themselves. The year passed really quickly, and it's already time for Auggie's graduation. The principal mentions a medal that is given to the student who attracts the most hearts, and this year it is awarded to Auggie. He is truly a wonder. While walking up to the stage, Auggie's heart is beating really fast, and he realizes that everyone deserves a standing ovation at least once in their lives. All his friends, his teachers, and his family, they all have done great things and deserve to be awarded. Be kind because everyone is fighting a hard battle. And if you really want to see what people are, all you have to do is look.